coming at you live from a couple of stools in the low class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walking to a bar. I am Justin Golak. I am a comedian, and I'm sipping on some Lone Star beer.
Per usual.
Per usual. Living that hashtag sauna life and rehydrating with a nice
We're
watered
both
down
rehydrating
domestic.
today.
Yes. Get to you in a minute. Per usual again, I will be posting the famous Lone Star Riddle bottle cap on Twitter at Justin Golak. And if you want to reply to that with the answer to the riddle, maybe I'll give you a prize for this one. But I'm not.
Do it.
No one's really been engaging, so fuck you guys all.
Even people who don't listen, no one's been like, well, that's 2 peas in a pod.
No. And honestly, this one, and that's what's weird. I've gotten some likes,
I know, yeah. I feel
and
like
it's like, do you not know? Maybe they don't know, but they're like, I appreciate this one. This one, I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Well, and here's what I'm trying to say. All right, I should because I do agree. Like Barry Crimmins just passed away. He's a comic, very funny. And he had like a joke on his recent special that I feel like there's been like a rumination of, but he finally like said it on like a recorded performance, and I agree with it so wholeheartedly. Which it's like when you're at a show. I actually just saw a tweet about this too. So it's like I feel like it's good that this kind of becoming like addressed. Like if you're at a show that's like not well attended, and then you have a comic that's like, like basically like berating the audience. But it's like, they're here. You're mad at the people that aren't here. But they're here.
yeah.
So that's why I always think like, and it works out like 90% of the time plus. Where if there's 7 people in a 200-seat room and you just get up, you can maybe make like a little joke just so people like, like, especially if you're the first or second comic, just so it's not like weird, like, does he notice that no one's here? Just like notice. Just like if you walk up on stage with like a black eye, you got to be like, I got this because of joke. And then you could just do your normal shit. So, but especially if you're third or fourth in or whatever, I've just done my set as if it's just a show, just any other show. And people like it. Because again, they're like, if me and you go to a show, I don't give a fuck if there's 50 people there, if there's 100 people, if we're the only 2 people.
I paid $10 the same way I would have if it were packed.
Well, even just like we're trying to have a fun Thursday.
Yeah.
So we're in. Like, we're in. So if you say something funny, we'll laugh because we want to laugh. We came here to laugh. Or like if it's a music show, we came here to dance or to listen contemplatively, depending what your music. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Anyways, so to relate back to what I'm saying, I'm just saying fuck the audience that isn't there.
Yeah.
Meaning no one's responding to my message cap. So I don't think I hope I'm not being salty. Because I'm not saying not enough people. I'm saying no one is. And that's why I said fuck y'all.
Oh.
So that's why I said that
was your log. Okay.
Well, I just want to say
No,
I don't want people to be like, well, I'm listening and now fuck me.
Totally. I think that
that's fair. Look, you know what I'm walking about. If you're listening, that is most of it. This is an add-on thing. Maybe you're like, I just like to listen at work. I don't want to get on Twitter and participate.
I don't need to tweet at you.
All right, I'm sorry.
Or if you're listening to this 40 years from now.
Well, that's different. They know I don't mean
child.
fuck them. Look, I'm sorry I said fuck y'all. It's just hard to put.
I don't think anyone noticed.
Art is vulnerability, and sometimes when you don't feel reciprocation, you lash out because you're a man that wasn't raised to feel.
No.
In this toxic society.
Shut up.
I'm kidding. I feel better than most women.
I was going to tell you that because your life is easier.
Than most women.
Yeah.
Who have easy lives. What are you trying to say, Jackie?
Well, yeah. Comparatively, but also comparatively, you have a lot of advantages. What I was gonna add on to your just a nice thought was when we went and saw a musician a few weeks ago, and it was like what you were saying, like it was our night out, and I mean we have a lot of nights out, but like we were excited to go out, and like we went far from our house to go out, and it was cold and nasty out, and there were like 4 people in this whole place listening to this guy play music. And he rocked the house down for the 4 of us. And he brought it up in one of his songs. He's like, this is a song inspired by those sort of empty nights, you know? And I was like, that's such a cool way to bring it all around and like you said, sort of address it, but then be like, yeah, there are times like this, but like it inspires cool shit too. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was so smart. But it's like you're saying, yeah, like, but
It's
he went balls to the wall for the four of us. It was so cool.
I think it can come from that awkwardness. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Almost again, like I'm almost kind of this is all it's a very encapsulated thought. I'm kind of excited about it. Didn't plan on it. You know, just kind of came organically. It's all tying together. Maybe that's why maybe that's where these comics come from who see like four people in the room and get mad at them. Cuz really they feel awkward cuz there's an awkwardness, you know, to it because you see the emptiness and like you know, maybe the audience is like, should I feel bad for him,
Yeah.
or like, and does he feel bad? Should like, you know, and the audience is like, do they think I suck or do they not care? And instead of like just feeling that and exercising it positively, even especially in that setting through a joke,
Yeah.
maybe they're lashing out because they're sad and mad and
I
they
feel
feel
like
that awkwardness.
most comedians are lashing out because they're sad.
So just you know what, don't just play for. But honestly, it's weird because I don't do that at live shows because I've always followed that philosophy because I just
Yeah.
recognized it early. It's weird that you don't recognize it. Maybe that's why, because you know sometimes I see like newer comics kind of doing it, and I'm just like, who would see you? You're not
Yeah.
funny. There should be no one
When
here.
you're right, like it's
It's
totally
crazy that there's
off-putting.
4 people here to see you because you're awful.
Yeah.
There should be no one.
You should be glad there's just 4 people.
I'm gonna walk out
And it is
during your set.
It is super off-putting as an audience member. Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're yelling, I'm gonna leave. But if you're being nice and like trying, and
Yeah.
I see you're putting in an effort, because I made an effort to be here,
Right.
even if it was just walking a block down the street. Like I still put in energy to
Leaving
come
your
see
house is the worst thing
It
anybody
is.
can do.
That's why I even said just walking a block down the street, because I'm like, even that is
Yeah.
energy I put into you.
I guess.
So,
Well, that's like.
just don't shit on
Well,
me.
and the thing is like so for me, just like these comics, when I first started doing comedy, and I'm not gonna act like it's much different now, but especially then, no one was like all the shows I did fucking stunk because I stunk and you do stinky shows, and like so no one would be there, but I would
Yeah.
just do my set, and like I said, I found
Get
like
those
9
reps in.
times out of 10. People were like into it, and then it's like, yeah, you just do the common sense math of like, oh yeah, well they came out to see a show.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to want it to be good because even just selfishly, they want their night to be good. You know what I mean? So, if they
know. It's
laugh and
sorta-
have fun and give you energy and then you can give it back, their night will benefit. It's not even just truly altruistic. It's just common sense.
Liz Gilbert writes about how, yeah, like for writers, she's like, don't, because we're a little more removed, we can't see the audience, but
Yeah.
you know, like if you're have a blog or something and you only get like 10 hits a day, she basically writes like, who cares? That's 10 people who came and read your shit. Like
And it
that's
is-
amazing. Like you said,
Yeah.
like that's don't take that for granted. Like write your heart out for those 10 people. It'll grow eventually, and even if it doesn't, like that's your audience.
And it is crazy, like, you know, and that's kind of like the things you do have to remember, you know what I mean? Because that is crazy. Like, you know, I'll run into people out who will be like, hey, man, I listen to your podcast. It's fucking so good. I love it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, like, that's cool. Even if, like, that was the only guy that listened, but he listened every week and, like,
Yeah,
it
it
was his
still feels
favorite
good to
thing,
hear
it would be
that.
like, that's cool. You know, and anyway,
Yeah,
so look
totally.
I had a whole just avalanche and cycle of emotions and realizations after
I liked it.
telling all our listeners to fuck off because they don't reply to my
See, I
tweet
told you,
about a
there's-
bottle cap riddle.
Guys, there's goodness in there.
It's all goodness because that's quick turnaround. It's not like I'm a normal guy that figured it out on his deathbed after
Justin,
steelworking
yes,
his whole
it's
life.
all goodness, but there is a hard shell around there. A hard light pink shell tonight, I see.
Whatever, Jackie Dolezal. So if you're watching live on YouTube, or you can watch it anytime on YouTube, but the cool thing is you could watch it live. You could watch us right at the moment we're doing things. So if me and Jackie ever have like a fight on air, I wouldn't have like a time to edit
You
it
should
out.
explain why you just called me Jackie Dolezal.
I'm going to. I'm leading up.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing a. Come on. I'm doing a thing.
I don't know. Your lead-ins take
I'm tying, but I'm tying it into a plug that's beneficial to both of us. So you can always go to youtube.com/Justin Golag. You can watch us live, or you can see the video versions of this podcast after they end their live sesh, and things you can't get from the podcast audio version. Even though, please listen to it as often as you want. But if you want to juice it up, you can see Jackie with Too Dark Foundation looking real Rachel Dolezal up in here.
Guys, I bought.
Well,
They were out.
Can
of,
I give you the full intro and then you tell us what you're drinking and then you tell us your makeup
Yeah.
story? It's called a tease. Tease with a lead in, baby.
Go.
So this is Jackie Manti. I just always hold out that there may be, like we gotta stick to the format. Maybe there's someone not listening. He's like, who is? He's introduced himself. Who's this other lady? Is it a guest? Is it a co-host? It's not a guest. It's a co-host and a life partner. Jackie Manti, she's a feminist, and so tell them what you're sipping on. Let's tell that story, and then let's talk about your makeup.
Oh, my makeup. Yeah,
So-
stay tuned for my makeup debacle. Well, today in my Dayglow mug, I'm
Shout out Dayglow.
I'm sponsored by Dayglow. No, we are absolutely not.
Why? Why are you so offended?
No, I'm not offended. I'm just saying they probably don't want.
Oh,
be
they don't want to be
associated with us.
associated.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You don't want legal action
Right.
from Dayglow. I got
Right. I'm drinking off-brand Pedialyte on the rocks tonight with a little garnish of lime.
you. Nice. Very fancy. How is it
Oh,
on
I
the...
haven't squeezed it in there.
Is it better on the rocks?
Actually, it's way better on the rocks. You've been seeing me sipping on it a few times. It's pretty good. Just squeeze some lime in there.
Right. Don't get your limey fingers all over the microphone or anything.
I won't. I don't touch it once I'm done.
Give him a little lick. Give him a little lick.
I don't touch the microphone.
You got
and I'm not
such-
doing it now.
You got such little toddler hands. They're always sticky.
That's why I'm drinking Pedialyte, because I have toddler hands and I never wash them.
I know.
And
I
hung out with
got to start
babies
carrying
with-
around a wet rag and wiping them off just like a baby.
You need you know how I carry tissues for you? You need to start carrying the
Wet naps.
no, yeah, probably wet naps and antibacterial cream.
Oh, like what's that shit called? Purell.
Hand stuff. Yeah, sanitizers. I
Yeah.
don't even know what it is. But guys, I had the stomach flu last week basically, and so I'm still recovering.
Trying to rehydrate.
And there were Tony's, our trusty old Tony's didn't have Pedialyte, but they had this Mexican brand.
Yeah.
It's really good. It just tastes like sugarless Gatorade. It kind of tastes like, have you ever made lemonade without adding sugar?
No. Who would do that?
Definitely me as a child.
Why?
It kind of tastes like that. I don't know. I forgot you had sugar. I
That
don't know.
sounds like such a Jackie
Right?
thing.
I was
Why
distracted.
does this taste weird?
I'm still gonna drink it.
It's fine. That's like your solution to everything that you mess up is just going, it's fine.
Like the dog in the fire.
It's fine.
But it is. I highly recommend it on the rocks, you guys. It's really good.
Nice.
It's easier to drink. So my makeup
Yeah.
base. The reason I'm wearing a turtleneck today. Luckily, it started snowing, so it seemed appropriate. But long story short, the drugstore didn't have the BB cream, which is basically foundation, but it didn't have the kind that I usually use. So I had to get a new kind, and my options were between light and fair. And I chose light, which was a risky move. And it is about 3 shades darker than my actual
You are a
skin.
blue-eyed redhead. Why would you
Justin,
ever think you couldn't?
Because there were like 10 color options.
You're always
there
going
were
to be
2
one.
at the end.
You're always
I
going
know,
to be
but
one.
so
Not, never
we're
two.
not wasting it. I'm saving it for my super tan
I don't
summer
even
days.
think you get that tan in the
and
summer.
I do. This will be fine in the summer, Justin.
I think that's just.
Oh,
I think you're
it's just
gonna.
wishful thinking.
I think that's just going to be a loss.
So
I think
I had to go
that's
back
just going to
and
be
buy.
an L you have to take.
I had to buy the BB cream in light, and I got. No joke. The matching powder is called translucent.
Yeah, that's you. You're a blue-eyed redhead, Jackie.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
Come on.
But hey, you don't know what it's like to buy makeup. Sometimes you have to like test out what works for you when you're trying a new product.
Well, it was just funny because right before we started recording, I was like,
I know
you
you didn't say anything.
I was like, did you get a
all
bronzer?
day, and then you're like, you look really tan. Did you go tanning?
well, I asked if you got a bronzer because I know you hadn't been tanning. But then that was my second thing of like, did you? Well, because then you like had this goofy look on your face, like, oh, you figured it out, and that's what. So I thought your admission was gonna be like, look, I actually went tanning because I don't know for some reason, and then you're like, told me the makeup story, and I was like, you look like Rachel Dolezal. You also look like a lot of girls that I dated in high school.
I was gonna say I feel like very high school Jackie, which is
because you, like I said, you
unfortunate.
have that foundation
the
line
line.
just below your
Yeah.
chin. I did a lot of trash in high school.
Oh,
And then I
would've
married
been,
trash.
I was gonna say I
I
would have
had
been
a type.
totally your type.
Yeah, I like him trashy. Just a little bit trashy.
I do too. I like trashy ladies.
Yeah, so there was nothing sexier.
Have you heard of that country
Nothing
song
sexier
that I
than
like
that
my
chin line of foundation.
and like some smudged eyeliner in the lid? Have you ever heard the song "I like my women just a little on the trashy side"?
No. Doesn't sound like
It's an
something
old
I'd like.
country song. Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Even if I liked the message, I feel like I would not like this song.
Probably not. Actually, the reason I never talk about it is the name of the band is like Confederate Railroad Funk. Some I don't know. Some.
I feel like they're probably into a different brand of trash.
They're into Dolly Parton waitress with a cocktail wig.
Yeah, no, that's not my brand.
What's your brand of trash? Me?
Yeah, you really you really nail it.
How would you describe that though?
A little bit trashy.
Just like
What
does that mean though? No, so like Dolly Parton waitress with a cocktail wig is
full
like
on
full
white
trashy.
trash.
Okay.
I would even add the adjective of white.
White.
Because I think you have a little bit trashy, and white trash.
It's like the foundation.
That song is about white.
Option.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So I'd be just trashy.
Just a little bit trashy.
Little bit.
And then there's trashy.
Okay.
And then there's white trash.
And I'm a little bit trashy.
That song
That's like
is
the
about
fair
white
of
trash.
the trashy foundations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So no, I don't like. And that's funny. And that's why I think it's like. I think that's like. For everything people are attracted to, would you say that's how it goes? Meaning like a certain type of guy.
Think attraction, yeah, definitely.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Totally. I was thinking about you today, actually, just like how I don't know, you're kind of a dick, but like that's what I like about you is that you're. Jeez. But I'm like, oh, it's too bad because I'm like, nice is not a word I would use to describe Justin, and I love nice people, but I am not sexually attracted. Right. So like I just think it's different. And I think that there's reason for that. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that I needed like opposites attract or whatever. Like your personality is really well suited for mine's gaps, right? And
but like, wouldn't you say the same way you're a little trashy, wouldn't you say I'm a little dicky?
You are a little dicky. You said it.
Does that make sense though? And wouldn't you say kind of the same thing? Like,
you're not a total full-on dick. You're not like,
and more asshole than me. You would hate.
Yes.
Even though, again, same thing. You'd be like, well, he's almost what you like. It's like, yeah, but it's even that little bit too far.
In the range of asshole foundations, you're on the light end, but like that's my jam. Like I can't wear anything different.
And if I was a little bit nicer, dry puss.
Yeah, I'd want to be your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just and that's why I hate that. This, for a long time there was that thing like, why don't girls like nice guys? And like, that's fair, but also attraction is attraction. I don't know. It's kind of equivalent to what you say about physicality for guys and how they feel about women. I guess
here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I always say about nice guys.
Shouldn't apologize for it. There are women who
there
love
are
nice
women
guys.
that like nice guys. Yeah. But I'm talking about nice guys and how they feel about themselves. I'm not talking about women. I think there are plenty of women that like nice guys. I think there are women that like their guys way more dickish than you. And I think there's a whole spectrum. So I don't think women like assholes. I think some do. I would say it's a relatively, if you got a big enough sample size like the United States female population, I think the scatter shot would almost range across the board, from nice to complete abusive dick of things women are attracted to. I just think the problem with what we would think of as a nice guy, at least what I see anecdotally, is the problem with nice guys, is what I've told you before, is the ones that proclaim to be nice, that is their only positive characteristic. Does that make sense? And so, that's the issue, I think, is that I think it's devaluing.
Well, not all of them, but there are a lot who lean into that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm calling the group that we're scientifically quantifying as quote unquote nice guys.
Yeah. Are those who call themselves nice guys?
Are those that call themselves nice guys, meaning that they put that characteristic forward. I think anyone that puts their niceness forward as a man usually only has that as a positive characteristic for his whole human being.
Well, sometimes they're not even nice. Like, look at those, like...
But again, let's even just say... Let's just assume they are. Again, let's just give them that credit, just as the thought experiment. That's usually all they have. And so to me, it's devaluing to women. You're not looking at them as complex creatures. So that's my point. It's like, you're like, I'm nice and she dates that guy and he's an
Right.
asshole, it's like, okay, well, look at you. You're nice. What else are you? Ugly, fat, lazy, poor, live at home.
Not even that. Like if you're
And
just
then
if
you
you
look,
just don't have anything else you're bringing to the table intellectually,
and that's my
like are
point.
you
And then look at that
interesting? Do you have
asshole. But look
something?
at that asshole now. He's an asshole. Let's assume that she even finds his behavior to be a negative. What else is he a lot of the time? Good looking, smart, funny, rich, or some combination of those. So again, like,
Or none of it. Maybe he's just smart.
I'll take it. You said I'm smart. Got that on record. I already know I'm not good looking. But you know what I mean. So I just, again, like, how many guys? If you're a nice guy or just a guy, I mean,
Mm.
again, do women like assholes? I don't think so. I don't think in a statistically significant way they like assholes more. I just think, just like everything else, they're willing to forgive assholeness for other positive characteristics. The same way we all date the hot, sexually fucking liberated crazy girl. Like, it's the same thing. Do guys like crazy girls? No one that I know does. It's the bane of our existence, the same way assholes are the bane of females' existence, but they give us so many other things we like, it's hard to take away. The same way, like, the asshole guy is usually good looking or rich or charismatic even. And so I'm sure women are like, fucking this guy, but
You're right though.
like,
I
that's
think
all it
you
is.
bring up such you really nailed it on the head of why it's just gross. It is like you're looking at women as one, like instead
Yeah.
of complex human beings. Like, well, this is what they should be liking is nice people because they need to be nurtured and taken care. Again, like that's another thing too. Is like that women are fragile, so they need nice men. Like I'm not fragile at all. I can take it. Well, again, like that veers into dangerous territory because I have dated abusive people.
Right.
Like it was sort of like I went too far on the foundation spectrum, right? Like I had.
But my
I had
point
to find
is,
my
if
middle
I
ground.
was just a complete dick to, or let's just say I was whatever dickishness I have that you say you're attractive to. What if that was backed up by no other positive characteristics? I mean, you wouldn't be so attracted to my
It's not even
attitude.
dickishness. It's abrasive. You're abrasive.
Okay,
You're an
but my whole
abrasive
point is,
person.
there's no attitude that you would disregard all other failing characteristics. If you wouldn't, if let's just again hypothetically assume my temperament is perfect for you. It's your ideal temperament.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I was completely unattractive, didn't take care of myself, was lazy, like didn't have any aspirations, didn't have any money, didn't have any smarts, didn't have any charisma. Would you be like, oh, but that temperament gets
No,
me wet?
absolutely
Then the
not.
same way, so that my point is,
Yeah.
God, there's no woman out there that's like, this guy has nothing going for him, but he's an asshole, and that's all I care about.
Right.
So the
Right.
same way, if you're nice, but you have nothing else going on, there's no woman that's like, he's got nothing going on, but ooh, niceness, that temperament, that's what gets me. No woman's ever thinking
Right.
that. So that's my point. It's like, you can go to the gym, you can ask for a raise,
Vanilla.
you know what I mean? You can get a fucking cool hobby. You can do any of those things, and you can still be nice. None of those things require you to now become an asshole.
Yeah.
Get a fucking haircut, clean your place, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
none of that requires. So that's my point. Is like, I just have never. I know a lot of nice guys that date, or
I dated the nicest man ever, but what I liked about him was he was in a punk rock band. Do you know what I mean?
So
Like
sorry you left that for me.
it was high school,
Oh, okay.
so I had a lot of.
Well, even that you
growing
had a
up to do.
chance with
I know.
someone nice, and you threw it all away
I know.
to wife me up.
Yeah, but like it was his like he was a musician, and we talked about music and God and like like philosophy and stuff. Like that's what was cool
I
about
just
him. It wasn't
really-
that he was nice.
I mean, to me, that's the thing. I see nice guys who date or have, and honestly, that's true. Probably a nicer guy probably doesn't quote unquote get women because he's probably like in more long term relationships or will like be patient and be like I'll go on dates, but if it's not going well, like I'm not gonna sleep with them. I'll wait. Like that temperament does equal that. But again, I know a lot of nice guys with girlfriends or that have had girlfriends or that like they might not be dating someone now because they move slower because of said temperament, but they don't have that problem. And again, when I look at those guys, again, I see like successful, funny, does a cool thing, good looking, something, or like even just fucking dresses well or showers regularly, just something. And then when I look at any quote unquote nice guy that's like complaining about his niceness not being recognized. I just see like fat, smelly, dirty place, lives at home, no job, no prospects, like no ambition, like no charisma. And I'm just like, dude.
Or not even really a nice person.
And also but you also look at them too, and you're like, dude, at least half of the things that are unattractive about you are completely fixable within like a year's time for the hardest one of those. You know what I mean? Like you could turn it around and I'm sure you would have not a problem attracting the opposite sex. It's and then you just but I'm so nice. It's like but if you were such an asshole, still no one would fuck you. Like there's no temperament you could pick with the rest of the attributes you have that would make anyone want to date you or fuck you.
Yeah.
That's where the problem lies.
Yep.
So, good talk.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, that was the podcast. All right. So, topic number 1.
Yeah.
Let's do quick plugs.
Okay.
FemComPod.com. That is where this podcast resides, but it also resides anywhere that you get your normal podcasts from, iTunes, Stitcher, any podcasting app. You can find us. Podkicker. It's not really. It's like an aggregate app.
Oh.
It's not a service.
Oh, got it.
But that's a good point. I use, I don't know what I used. Pod something. But same thing. It just fetches podcasts.
Anything with the prefix pod.
Yeah. So just go on there and search us and we will be there. And if you need something like the RSS feed address to get it on your app, because you can't find it for whatever reason, you can always go and get that at FemComPod.com. And for everything else, you can go to lowclass.com. That's LO-class.com.
Yeah.
And March 16th, come see me at the Den Theater at 10 o'clock.
Hooray!
Killing Your Darlings first show.
Yay!
I wanted an early plug-in because
what time does it start?
10 o'clock.
Oh, and how much is it?
$10. $10 if you buy online, $12 at the door. So buy it online at thedentheater.com.
Go to their events. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, click events. Killing Your Darlings. 15 minutes of material every month. Starting this month, March 16th, Friday, 10 p.m., Den Theater. Topic 1.
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like porn has been coming up a lot in the news. There was that thing in Florida with the porn.
What was the Florida porn?
They considered it a public health emergency during the whole gun thing, which made it extra like hilarious.
Yeah.
And now there's this thing.
Health risk.
Yeah, and now there's this thing in Rhode Island. Right, let me double check. Yeah, it's a proposed law in Rhode Island. So this was published on March 7th. So I don't know if it's passed yet because it's just proposed. The bill is called an act relating to public utilities and carriers - internet digital blocking. So basically what it is that
that's a mouthful.
If you want to look at porn in the state of Rhode Island, you have to pay a one-time fee of $20. And then with that, you prove, I think, that you're 18. What does it say? You would require proof that you're 18 and evidence that the consumer received a, quote, written warning regarding the potential danger of deactivating the digital block. And
who
then
gets this money? Not the people producing the porn, right?
Like, of course not.
Not
the
women.
fucking biggest gang in the United States, the government of the United States. Well, this, I guess, would be the state government. So
the Rhode Island state government.
Yeah, the smaller Gambino family, the state governments. And
they're trying to scrap their way up to that title.
And then also, so basically, it looks like that. So basically, and any time an ISP fails to filter out content, they could have to pay $500 for each piece of content reported.
Okay.
That is not blocked after that report. And so apparently, Rhode Island is supposed to take those collected fees and help fund operations for the state's Council on Human Trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, because that's their argument, is that this will help prevent child pornography and stop human trafficking. But they don't explain how. It's just, well, that's because I was like, Democrats made and sponsored this bill, and then
it's all bullshit, dude. It's all bullshit. It's the same bullshit.
Well, that just won't work.
They
right?
always invoke. I mean, children are good. Human trafficked women are good. As long as that's always
good to get something passed.
The person that's good. The thing to parade out when you want to propose your bullshit is children and human trafficked women or and just like there's a
Or the
few good.
working poor.
Yeah, the homeless is
Yeah,
good.
homeless
Like
is good.
anything where it's like you'll seem like a dick
Yeah.
if you go against it. So they throw these children and these trafficked women out on the front lines to take all the bullets.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, what? You don't want women to be trafficked?
They're
I'm like,
used to being pawns.
right, exactly. I mean, it's like, right, anytime they want to build a casino in the state, right? What is it always? Well, this is going to go to help schools. This will help the kids.
Yeah.
Do you not want extra tax money for the kids? It's like, I don't know. I thought the lotto was supposed to help the kids, and I don't see schools getting any better. The lotto's been around forever. Schools aren't better. That was supposed to be millions of dollars to the schools every year.
Right, and I just can you imagine? I don't the resources that would have to go into enforcing and collecting and setting up the systems that would even make hiring someone to write even the copy that for the warning that they
Right.
need to receive. It's like getting an ultrasound before you
Right.
say you want an abortion.
And
Like,
it's what
hold
I
on,
mean,
like
yeah.
that money, those resources, time, everything like that could go to stopping human trafficking right now.
Right.
But instead, we're gonna set all this up so then we get $20.
Yeah.
It's
They just want their
ridiculous.
$20.
And I feel like it's insulting that the government gets the money to be a middleman to try to stop this human trafficking. While if you're worried about human trafficking happening in this pornography, like that's forget where I was going with that. It's not gonna work, basically. Like haven't we how many times we have to learn like the dark web is where that stuff happens? Like
It doesn't even matter that, but it's not. I mean, that's
what I was gonna say is
yeah.
that it makes me angry that you're it's like a gang. Like you're becoming a middleman where you're getting that $20 instead of instead of making the pornographers charge someone to watch it, and then that money goes to the actress's salary. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
but that's the whole point of this. I mean, anytime you see the government doing anything like this, I mean, that's the problem, right? It's like if you are a law-abiding porn watcher in the United States, you pay an internet service provider for an internet connection. Yeah. And then even on these quote-unquote free porn sites, they're still making ad revenue off their ads, so they're making money. And then even these the larger porn companies that give like a kind of like truncated version of their videos out on these free sites, I mean, they're using that as advertising to entice you to go to the paid site and make money off that. So porn's making money. The porn clip sites are making money. The ISPs are making money. And you're jerking off. And the government's pissed because they're not getting a taste.
Yeah.
They're not getting a taste of it. They want their fucking taste because they're fucking evil. Because you got men and women free of their own volition fucking, and then you got business people making money off that fucking, and then you as a free person is jerking off or rubbing off to that fucking, and government hates that. They want their fucking taste.
I just think, it's just so dumb. I think that, I mean, I've always been pro information. Even right now, when we're struggling with this Trump presidency, fake news, all of that, I'm so pro information and you having all of it, even the bad stuff, right? And like things that are illegal should not be online. We can take those down, right? But thinking specifically of sexuality and pornography, I saw my first porn in high school. Someone like pulled up Slut Bus online.
Bang Bus?
On dial-up? Yeah, Bang Bus. Is that where they would like
pick up girls on the bus
on the street and then they'd fuck them on the bus? Yes. And then I didn't see porn again until like the end of college. But it was enough to like think I had just enough knowledge to think that, oh, well, when you have sex, you're supposed to like moan and like that's how women enjoy it. Okay, so I'm not moaning a lot. Does that mean I'm not enjoying sex? You know, there were all these questions surrounding it because I'd seen like 2 or 3 porns. Okay, not saying that all porns are great, but if there is all of this information, I love that now I could go. It wasn't until actually I started reading feminist erotica that I was like, oh, it doesn't fucking work like that all the time because it's porn, duh, you idiot. Like, but you just don't know when you're younger. But if you have access to the World Wide Web and there are feminist pornography sites, there are consent sites. Like, just think you could just learn about it differently, get a wider scope of what's sex is.
But that's what I mean, I was kind of thinking about that. Like, we have now the Affront, another plug, the Affront at the-affront.com, which has a variety of content, you know, artistic, creative content meant for people to enjoy, and there's a piece of erotica on that site,
Uh-huh.
like a little short fiction erotica piece. So now what if,
Oh yeah, we could be blocked because it's
yeah, and now so you have some person that's like, I don't really look at porn, so I'm just gonna say my $20 or whatever, or I got some magazines stored up from the old days. I'm just gonna use those, whatever reason. And they're like, I tried to go to your site because I wanted to see that funny video you posted, but it said I couldn't see it unless I paid like $20. I mean that's why I just think that in 2018, the question I kind of posed to you when we were kind of talking about this before recording was like, doesn't this just seem like weird 50s, 60s
oh my god,
censorship?
absolutely.
I
It's
mean,
like
just because like you could say it's not censorship because like, well, back in the 50s you couldn't just pay $20 and see it, and it's like,
oh, you could go to the theater.
I mean, it's censorship. You're saying I can't
Censorship.
see it
Yeah.
unless I go through the government and ask for permission to see it, and they can block it again. Like this thing talks about there's no tribunal, there's no board, it says it looks like it's run by the state attorney general. So my point is there's no committee or group or public kind of weighing in on what is pornography. And I'm sure in the first year it's going to be Pornhub and YouPorn and Spank Bang, and that's going to be
here before, like Supreme Court decisions. You'll
Right.
know it when you see it. Like, we've done this. Democrats, you idiots. Like, I cannot believe it's just like, I feel like it's a betrayal that Democrats sponsored this. Like, it's like banning art. When progressives wanted to ban certain pieces of artwork from
it's
the
just
Met,
as
like
bad as net neutrality.
it's.
You know what I mean?
I
like
was gonna say
ending
it's just
that,
as bad as book burning from the 50s, but like, what do you
that's
mean?
like that they're just ending net neutrality. They're
Oh,
regulating what you see.
yeah,
Like we were so
that's
mad
what
about
it is,
that. This is
right.
the same thing.
Right. Well, and I think that
Because how do you know they can't go like there's tits on Netflix? If you want to watch your Netflix, you got to pay your 20 because we got to make sure you're 18 because there's
Yeah.
stuff on Netflix that we just want to make sure you're safe from.
and again it's
Again, this is about your safety and the kids. The two things we'd love to throw out.
well, that's
Your safety and the kids.
I was gonna say
that's
it's
all we care about.
I feel it's so manipulative to
So
do that
manipulative.
because, like, of course I'm not. I think human trafficking should end, and I think child pornography is disgusting and the worst thing you can do to another person beyond murder, like even worse than murdering them. Do you know? Raping, but that stuff's illegal for a reason. It's not like because you pass
And-
this suddenly, like there won't be child porn on the thing.
Yeah.
But what I also was gonna say was that, like just learning about human trafficking. A lot of like there's a place in Chicago that I volunteered for, and about human trafficking, and they're saying. Basically, a lot of these organizations that are already in place, that even statewide human trafficking task forces that try to help, they don't have enough funds, right? Which I guess is what this is trying to solve. But there are other ways that the community members can get involved and like
Right.
donate their time to. Like I did writing for them because they don't get marketing dollars, basically. So a lot of even like survivors don't know that this is available to them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like here's this shelter.
Well,
or
and that's
here's
what
this
you
thing.
you pointed it out earlier about the quote unquote funds going to help this. It's the same thing as a nonprofit
It's
grift.
gonna fund the thing to set up the
Right.
thing
Right.
to get the
So
thing
they can
started,
funnel
so they
money
can
to
get
so
the
then
mon-
all
yeah.
these the state attorney general, he's just going to hire a bunch of his buddies, and all he's going to be doing essentially is giving them he's going to put them on a task force, which means that he's going to take your $20, put it all in a big bag, and give 90% of it to his fucking evil friends, and then give 10% of it, to make sure that
No, 90% of it's going back into his reelection campaign to get. Well,
that
yeah,
too.
you got to get me back in here to keep it going.
But the
to
thing
see real results.
is like, and I feel like we disagreed on this before, and so I don't want to make this a whole other subject, but I just feel like it connects so deeply to this because it's another law regulating another thing, and in a way that it's just trying to keep you from it and trying to shut it down. And it's this thing of like, we tried this with drugs. We tried it with booze before that. We've tried it throughout history.
Yeah.
It crumbles every time. If you want to save women from being trafficked, you need to legalize prostitution. You need to legalize it and you need to regulate it. And that's the only way it ever works because people want things. And there's certain things that we've seen. We've been alive long enough and been in civilization long enough that there's certain things people are going to want no matter how illegal they are. And all you're doing by keeping them illegal is you're forcing them to a place where there's no rules, and always the most vulnerable people get hurt in those
Yeah,
situations.
and well, that's I think I've changed my mind on that since we last talked. Like, I think that I do see the benefits of regulation in terms of ending human trafficking too.
Right.
Like, or these women being taken advantage of. That's why I feel like the pornography thing. That's why I'm so just mad about the money going to the government versus like, the you porn now charging and that money going directly to the performers who you are watching. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, oh, what's that cam girl always say? Own your content,
Right.
like that. But
Well,
just in a
that's why
different
I do think
vein.
I think the way honestly again, and there's like so many topics we talk about for like 20 minutes. I do think that honestly, I think the way porn is going is gonna even though people are getting it for free en masse, I think people are being more empowered to earn off it than ever before. And it's the same way with music and comedy and all entertainment venues. It's like, yeah, it's harder to sell a million records, but also you could take a goddamn iPhone, videotape yourself, put it on YouTube, and you could, like the distribution is out there in a way that's never been, and it's gonna take you longer to monetize than it has in the past, but you can monetize with such a lower to almost non-existent overhead than you could at any point before, and then you get just maybe some ad revenue behind it, or you get some people paying for it. I just think it's like I think yes, no one's going to porn shops anymore. Less people are probably signing up even for sites like paid sites anymore. But I would gather that there's almost as much money going to porn as ever, and you're just going to see it dispersed over a higher group of people than ever before. The same way with again, the advent of podcasting and like independent film and VOD and like, just all these other things. And so I just think like, yeah, you shouldn't keep people from it. Just put things in place. Just you can regulate it a little bit from like the financial side or something like that, but not fucking this. This is fucking censorship, and it's dumb, and it's the same puritanical bullshit that just makes things more illegal,
Yeah.
hurts more people, doesn't help people, and just makes it more and more pushes into the shadows where you have no control over it except to say no or yes. And every time you say no, people just say I don't care, and then
It makes me this all this it makes me feel so cautious in a way I never had to thought I've had to feel before as far as watching my side. Do you know what I mean? Like, and calling out my side. What I mean by that is like the progressives, right? People that I agree with. Really watching it and being like, no, 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 like that's too far. Because I feel that's we've been talking about that since 2016, right? Like we're on such extremes, and I feel like these democratic politicians feel like they have to do something to like compete with the extreme on the other side, and it's dangerous. Like that's not how we
yeah. Well, and I
survive.
just think here's the thing that is
Not
all
like not just Democrats, but like as a whole.
well, and here's the thing that's upsetting to me about human trafficking and the fact that we just are not even
All
close
of
to a
it.
conversation, but the fact that we're not even close to a conversation about legalized prostitution. The thing that upsets me the most about it is I think if you are against legalized sex work, I think that is the most out of abortion, out of equal pay, out of anything. I think that is the most anti woman stance that you can take on any issue. I think if you're against legalized prostitution in full, you are so anti woman, you're more anti woman than any fucking fire and brimstone, anti abortion, women in the kitchen, don't fucking drink at a party without your wife because these women are all trying to make you cheat because they're it's worse. It's worse than all that. It's worse than all that
I don't
because the
agree with
fact
that.
is in this country, like as a woman, your sex is an asset, and the government is essentially telling you you have an asset, and it is illegal to profit off that asset. And we live in a country where so few things are illegal. And again, and think of the things that are illegal. Most of them have some sort of negative consequence. Your sex has no negative consequence. It only makes people happier, but you can't profit off it. And it's also it's a non-depreciating asset. You can sell your pussy over and over again. You can only sell a car once. Your sex is the greatest asset in the world. You can sell it over and over again and profit off of it. Only you have it, and you can't sell it. It is forbidden for you to sell. You can only give it away for free, and that's it. And if you don't think that that is hateful and misogynistic, it's the most hateful and misogynistic legislation in the United States currently. That you can't profit off an inherent asset that you have.
Well, it's counterproductive, sort of the way. It reminds me of just the abortion argument in the sense of like, I don't want a lot of abortions, but like that should be an option that's available of one of your hundreds of options, right? Same way with like, to me, prostitution, the problem with it for so long was it was the only thing a lot of women could do, most women could do to earn any money for themselves, right, in this fucked up world.
But
now,
why shouldn't they be able to?
Hold on. I'm talking like Victorian times, Justin. Like, as women have been elevated in status, we now have equal opportunity, more opportunities to, we're still figuring that shit out, but like more opportunity to, I don't have to work the corner anymore because, I can go work in the office, the corner office.
But that's the thing. I still think, honestly, and I know
Does
it's
that
almost,
make sense in my comparison there?
It kind of makes sense.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Your comparison makes sense, but to me, and man, we are just straight up flipping fucking roles. I think that everything you're saying is just manipulated by just like toxic information from a mostly male, mostly puritanical fucking mindset, which is
like I'm manipulated?
Yes, like the way you're even talking about it. Because the fact is, the only reason prostitution is quote unquote working the corner is because it's illegal. If it was legal, no one would be on the corner.
Yeah,
they would
Justin,
be in a clean, sanctioned, regulated building for that purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I just maybe I didn't say it right.
Well, that's my point is like, my point is, of course, you, Jackie Manti, and assume you're single. Because then there's other just questions.
You mean we should just look at it as a respectable profession?
It should just be a profession. I mean, I don't know. It can be as respectable as, do you think waitressing is respectable or picking up garbage? I mean, you might or you might not, but it's not because you think it's bad. It's just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like some people do jobs, you're like, oh, that guy does that job because he's stupid or because he's this or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you might, what you respect out of profession is up to you. I'm just saying the fact that it's not an option is so hateful to women that it's just mind-boggling to me that that's not taken up en masse as a belief and also just not pushed by feminist organizations as like a major platform. To me, it's above abortion. It's way above abortion because then you give women control of money, and then they can get control of politics, and then they can get abortion and equal pay and all that other fucking shit they want. But but you can't get any of that shit because society is literally robbing you of a born asset you have, and that's the only reason it's illegal. The only reason they use shame and religion to make it illegal or to make you think it should be illegal is because they know that you could get rich off what your body you could monetize your body anytime you want and for as long as you want. And you could do that, and they don't want you to. Because they know a man can't do that. A man can only fucking sell cars or sell his time, sell his goods and services. A man cannot monetize his body the same way a woman can. And so they just take away your ability to do it. Because they know it would give you financial freedom and power. I mean, just how fucked up is that a guy can go like, I will give you $100 if you have sex with me. And you don't get to make a choice whether or not to take that. Your only choice in this country is no, because it's illegal. Because I could go to jail. Statistically, I will go to jail more than you if we get caught doing this. That's the only reason I'm not doing it. But again, fucking's not illegal. That would be the same way as if you could give someone heroin. If you could someone is nice enough to you at the bar and you just give them a baggie of heroin. And the cops are like, is that heroin? And then you're like, yeah, I just gave it to him though because I liked him. Oh, that's fine then. But if you sell that heroin to them, you are a bad person and you go to jail for it. That's how crazy that is. Fucking's not illegal, but a woman monetizing her fucking illegal and looked down upon. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, let's go into topic 2.
Okay. So
That's a beefy app.
2. Well, this one can be relatively quick. It's not really a hot ticket item.
We always say that and we do 30
I
minutes.
know.
So just do it.
Okay, this is from this headline caught my line. Mostly because the word resilience is in it, and that's been such a buzzword lately. But it's from the New York Times, and it says, the headline is, "In Britain's playgrounds, bringing in risk to build resilience." I'm just going to read the first few paragraphs. Educators in Britain, after decades spent in a collective effort to minimize risk, are now cautiously getting into the business of providing it. 4 years ago, for instance, teachers at the Richmond Avenue Primary and Nursery School looked critically around their campus and set about, as one of them put it, quote, bringing in risk. Out went the plastic playhouses and in came dicey stuff. Stacks of 2x4s, crates, and loose bricks. The schoolyard got a mud pit, a tire swing, log stumps, and workbenches with hammers and saws. So basically, we got two...
The hammers and saws, it's
Two
like
Bubble Boy.
a little much on that.
Maybe a saw. I don't know, though. I grew up with saws lying around.
Not like a playground.
Not a
though.
playground.
I don't care if you want to like let kids take shots. It seems like everything was good until then.
And then they're like...
It was almost like they were just kind of just being like, yeah, dangerous.
And sledgehammers.
Yeah. It was like, all right, I like your idea.
See, that's dangerous.
I like your idea, but maybe too much on that one.
Which is, it's funny though, because when I read that, I was like, ooh, yeah, get rid of those plastic playhouses. Those things were terrifying because you'd get shocked. Would you always get shocked on those?
No.
Oh my God. I'd go down a slide and the rest of the day I'd be shocked. I'd have so much static electricity. I'd be shocking everything. Hated it.
Hated it.
I'd rather have wood stuff that I could just get tetanus on.
You can get tetanus from metal.
I know.
You don't
It was
care.
just a joke.
You don't care. Jokes must be completely factually accurate, Jackie, or they are not funny. Also, rape is never funny.
Actually,
Let me tell you all the rules of comedy. It must be factual, and it can't be about rape, because rape is never funny.
Got it.
These are the rules that they have been taught to me. So
and I pass them down
pass
to
them
you.
down to you.
Talking and passing down. Do you think, like, what do you think about all this? Like, do you think that this is like I don't know. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think that is though trying to even sanction building resilience a weird thing. Like, have we gotten to the like? It's sort of like how when white people would be like, check your privilege, and it's like it's weird that you talk about privilege.
I wouldn't equate it directly to that. I would just say, yeah, it's just one of those things of like making the world more Nerf is.
What does that mean?
You know, like
like Nerf footballs.
Just like literally the opposite of this. Like make anything that's dangerous we must rid of. You know, like.
Oh.
Just heard that term for
no.
like nerfing the world or whatever. All right. So I just think making the playground like as safe as possible, and that's the only goal. It must be safe. And
yeah.
I mean, that's just as dumb as this, and I think like we need to be always fucking just fucking skeptical of any sort of like reactionary action, and that's kind of all this is. It's like we see the world getting too soft, and we're like, give them knives and let them run.
Grit and resilience.
And it's just like when will we ever settle in the middle of that thing too? Of like, yeah, like you should have things that are fun, and if it poses some risk, let children learn to, understand that risk and mitigate it through choice and decision making, as opposed to like, I can't get hurt no matter what.
That's what they're trying to do.
I get what they're trying, but when you're like, we're trying this, it's just so like, well, then you're almost not. Because now you're just like, now you might as well just go before recess and just kick every kid in the face and just be like, the world's hard. Do you know now? And they'd be like,
you
yeah,
must now
but
survive the mud pit.
It's just like, okay, like, I mean,
I
there's somewhere between fucking Bubble Boy and Hunger Games. Like, there's somewhere in between, and I don't hate it. Like, I'm not saying I'm like against it, but I would never be one of those dumb baby boomers that like that. That's right. This is what we need to do. Also, we should be able to hit kids again. Like that's where
Yeah.
this is going. It's like I got
Right.
hit and I'm fine. It's the same mindset. So even though like in essence I don't think it's bad, and I do think like making the world too safe is also bad. I just can't like these people because they just remind me of every 62-year-old that talked about getting hit by his fucking algebra teacher and acted like that's the reason he's successful and not because he grew up in one of the softest economies in American history. You know what I mean? So like
Finger snaps. Yeah.
that's why I hate anything that's like kind of mandating grit. And it's like, well then it's not grit. You know what I mean? It's just you hurting kids and hoping that maybe some of them will get over it, but also you're going to ruin some of them, and also like you just stop. Just let children, you just got to like
Let them learn.
let them learn and answer questions. Like let them get questions and then answer them. Like let them hurt themselves, but then have answers. Don't just be like, you must hurt yourself. Well, maybe if a kid never hurts themselves, maybe he navigated the world in a positive way. You don't necessarily have to hurt yourself.
Oh, I think that
You just need to know that you're not safe no matter what you do. But it's
Yeah.
also dangerous to be like, you'll be hurt no matter what.
It's-
And that's what they're trying to do. And it's like some kids won't, or they'll get hurt less.
Well, it's right, and I think that what you're. I don't think this is bad, but like I get what you're. I agree with you that the communication with the kid is the key here, right? Like it's not just like now we have saws and we're just watching behind a mirrored glass window, right? Like you want to talk to them about like, oh, so that hurt, so like don't do it again, and that's what they're doing, which is cool. But right after I read this story, I got on a bus to go somewhere, and it was funny because I'm like, oh, this is better than any quote unquote grit and resilience playground that you could build. So there was a kid on the bus with his parents. There was also like top of the line, mentally gone man
Okay.
screaming. Just screaming his lungs out, and not like a consistent scream. Like it was quiet for 20 seconds, and then you'd get a Dad! No, Daddy, no! Like,
The
yeah,
man?
the man
Oh,
would be
no.
screaming. Yeah, no, not the kid.
Someone got fucked as a kid.
It's awful.
That
And
guy.
it was so sad. And, I loved the people on the bus driver, everyone, like, kept their distance and was watching. Like, we were all trying to be safe for ourselves. But, like, there was also this feeling of, like, he's okay. He's not hurting anyone. It's just annoying and, like, kind of startling when someone just screams out of nowhere. But like, okay, we can handle this, right? And like that's the best thing about cities like Chicago and why I love it here.
Oh.
And because we all had to take public transportation, no matter like other places I've lived where there's public transportation, not everyone has to take it. So it's usually a certain bracket, right? So my point is that this kid who's like 4 or 5, is like asking questions because I'm sitting beside him and his 2 parents asking questions of like, is that man okay? Like, what's going on? And I hear the dad and mom, they don't get off on the next stop. They don't like cover his ears and like protect, you know what I mean? Run off the bus. They're talking to him the whole time about, I couldn't hear all they were saying because of the screaming, but like, yeah, and then he would like flip people off. Like it just, but I thought it was so cool that these parents were, and I'm like, this kid is going to learn resilience or just acceptance and like, how to handle this kind of real world
I mean,
situation.
I think more than saws and fucking spiny fucking swing sets or whatever these fucking dummies are doing. I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty clear that socialization will always help you the most. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I think that's what kind of that suburban angst that a lot of kids grow up with. I think that's what that really is.
Well, this has to be in a suburb, right?
Right, probably. But you know what I mean? Like, I think that when 14-year-olds have that angst, I mean, I'm sure it's like a lot of things, but I think there's a major piece of the pie that's like, I have, like, because that's what parents think, because parents are fucking dumb, and they think, like, you have this beautiful yard. And it's like, yeah, but the yard is nice sometimes, but I can also go to a park instead, and I might rather do that than this yard means I'm like, a football field away from the next person. I can't feel human energy. And then it's like you said, and then we get in a little car and we drive, on a highway to the mall, and then I'm maybe around people, but then but then we're shuttled back into that and back to, like our dark little cul-de-sac. Like, there's something about urban environment, and it's fun. It's like not everyone has to live in the city, and please, no one else move to this city. The traffic's bad enough, anyways.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, bring them in. Come down for, come get dinner in the city, and then walk around, go to a store, and then go back home. Like, yeah, come to urban environments, and like, I think socialization, being around varieties of people will always help your child more than being around varieties of tools, and fucking swing sets.
Human
and
playground.
Dude, I
yeah.
fucking I gotta tell you fucking this. I was
no.
driving from our gym, so like going from the home
Did
to
you
the
lose
gym.
it on someone?
No,
Oh,
but it's kind of
jeez.
related. So I'm driving up from the gym back to our place. So which is pretty much like one shot. It's like one shot and a turn. So like the main street I'm driving up, so I'm driving like north back home from the gym. And just like behind me I just hear this like
Oh, the
just
yelling guy.
You know this fucking guy?
Oh yeah, on the corner right here of Pulaski and Irving.
No, but
that
this
what
was
you said?
like down Pulaski. He's walking south down
Okay,
Pulaski.
yeah, I know that guy. I know who you're talking about.
Interesting.
Oh no, did you yell at him? He's
No.
sick. Okay.
Yeah, I assumed he was fine, Jackie. But yeah.
I never know. Yeah, I know you wouldn't know. I know you, if you knew, you wouldn't yell at him, but
I would still yell at a fucking crazy person though. If he like yelled at me, I'd be like, "No, fuck you."
I know.
'Cause
I do like that
I'm
about
crazy
you.
enough that I think it's okay. I'm like, we're the same. This is my word too.
Okay, so what happened?
I don't know. Well, I just didn't know what it was because it was so
it's so startling.
It was so far behind me I couldn't see, and it was so far away enough that I could tell it was yelling. But I'm like, is that a kid? Is it a fight? Like, or is it just one person yelling or whatever? And yeah, I think it would just so happen that I was coming back from the gym a little earlier than usual one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard the scream and then saw the guy screaming. I was like, that had to be the guy from last time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it
sounds
sounds the
seen
same.
Him twice. Yeah, he's
And
usually down here, and
I just assumed it was
he'll
like.
cross the street in like a square, and he just yells the whole time.
I assumed, I just assumed it was me from the future coming to try to find it.
Oh no, is that what I got to stay away from him? Jackie, I have a message for you.
Jackie! I'm so mad at the
if
world.
If he starts saying my name, I'm running home. We're locking the doors.
Why do people not signal when they turn? That's going to be the scariest thing is if I pass that guy one day and I roll down my window and I go like, he's making some good points. You know what I mean? Like, I know everyone's looking at him weird, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
You can't really understand him. Could you understand what he was saying?
No.
Yeah. So I don't. So yeah. So really be scared if you're like good points.
I get what you're saying, dude. I ain't mad about it. Yeah, I would yell at a crazy guy. That's not a pass. Hey, you yelling? I'll yell. Get right in your fucking face.
Well, I think if
I'm not malnourished. I'll kick your ass.
I think if he's in your face,
you're
allowed to protect yourself.
My bones aren't brittle from lack of calcium. Fucking snap your knee like a toothpick.
I think there's a fear, right? Because there's a balance. You want to be respectful, like I said on the bus. But like that's how I felt of the like. I felt like there was this feeling, or maybe I'm just projecting. It's how I felt of like looking out for this man as far as like making sure he doesn't hurt himself or hurt anyone else. But there was also a sense of like we will also protect ourselves, right? Yeah. Like it's. I don't know, but how do you learn that balance? By being exposed to it, by seeing it, by writing the CTA a million times on poop trains. Like
CTA is adult dangerous playground.
I just again like it's. I know we've talked about this before, but like it's just shocking to me that because I moved here in 2016, like right around the time Trump was elected, so there was all that talk about people who live in the city being in a bubble, and it's just like you could not be more wrong because I've lived in both rural environments and city environments, and like I am exposed to so much here of human capability and like
all you miss from not growing up in a rural area is just like
the saws and like real
just like I wonder what the dumbest people in this country think. I can assume, but that's it.
Oh, that's not true.
Yeah.
Let's,
Also, it's all homogenous thinking, so that's the whole difference.
That's more
And it's
dangerous.
dumb, but it's dumb homogenous
I mean,
thinking.
there are dumb people in the city too, Justin. Like,
Yeah, and that's why, and it adds to the fucking spectrum of people you see. But it's all the same dumbness in the rural parts. Because no one
I don't
stays
think it's
there.
dumb. I can't get it. That's
I was
like a
just
whole lot of
listening to shit. Let me pull it up real quick. And it's weird because I didn't think it would come up on this topic because we are way off base now. But I think it's really interesting. And since we're on it, I wanted to like bring it up. So I was just listening to like an old Joe Rogan podcast because this guy was on it who I just recently heard of, and I heard he was on, and I wanted to just hear his episode because I just thought his comedy was good. Byron Bowers. He's a West Coast comic, and he's very funny, but his comedy just seemed very interesting. So I was like, and I just had heard that he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I just think like if I find you interesting, I'm like glad that you've been on that because you're just talking to Joe Rogan for like 3 hours, and he's just like a very smart guy. He's black, and he grew up in like a kind of poor black neighborhood. I forget like where in the country, but he was kind of saying this thing about feeling because he went to college and now he's just even if he didn't go to college though, he just always knew he was like intelligent, and he just has this kind of thing where he's just like he was talking about his comedy specifically. He was like, yeah, like my family just doesn't get what I do. He's like, they don't find me funny because I do like smart, thoughtful comedy. He's like, they think world star hip hop is funny. They just want to see someone get slapped in the face on a cell phone video. That's what they think's funny. And so he was just talking about how a lot of people got mad at, no, I don't want to say like people got mad because obviously it's a bad thing in general, but he was just saying there was this kind of distaste about desegregation because he's like, because the thought is like, well, once you desegregate, then all you're doing is just kind of poaching the black doctors and lawyers from these low-income neighborhoods and just bringing them into white neighborhoods, and it's not bringing up the communities that they come from.
Interesting.
And he's like, that's not it. He's just like, they just don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Because they're better than you. They're smart. They don't want to sit around and just drink all day and talk about stupid stuff. And it was just.
That like in the book I was just of South Side Chicago, like the history of that.
But the thing I would say to you is like, dude, obviously, I mean, come on, let's break the fifth wall and make it uninteresting. Of course, I don't think that everyone from rural areas is dumb. I do think they're very homogenous. But I also don't think that even though I'm taking a humorous step, I think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm launching that step from a very real place, which is if you stayed where you were from, you would make that place a better place just by you being there.
Yes.
But you would never stay there. And no one like you does. And it's the same way in these poor black neighborhoods as these rural white neighborhoods. They don't get better because no one's fucking staying there that has anything to add to that culture. No one is. You're fucking out. And that's why they stink. And that's why it's not liberal elitism. Because the fact is, fine, call Chicago liberal elite latte sipping city. You know who I meet every fucking day? People from Michigan, people from Indiana, people from rural Illinois, people from Ohio. And they don't live there anymore because it stinks. You know what I mean? It's not like people are just born here with a latte in hand and never leave Chicago. Right. People move to New York, Chicago, LA, Atlanta, Austin, Seattle. They move there because they're like, this place stinks and it's not getting better, and the calories I'd have to put into getting it better, it would maybe move a half an inch by the time I'm 65, and then I'd be dead the next day. So fuck it. No, people move to Chicago from the same places that are like, you don't listen to me. It's like I listen to you every day via your kids that think you're all a bunch of fucking rubes that will never change and never evolve. That's who I know about where you're from. And that's why I think you fucking stink. Because you push out you're pushing out your sons and daughters. You know what I mean? You're not pushing out outsiders that don't get you. You're pushing out your blood because you're not even given a hint or a whiff that you could evolve at all. And that doesn't mean giving up your Jesus even. And that doesn't mean giving up your heritage. It just means evolving to some sort of place of higher purpose in this world. And you don't give a whiff of it to the best people in your community, and then they escape. And then that's where they go, is to these cities. These cities, don't just fucking via osmosis just create
Yeah.
liberals. They move from the places that you cherish as the misunderstood masses.
Right.
You're not misunderstood.
You're not misunderstood.
You're got. And everyone that gets you gets the fuck out. And they grab their latte and they're glad they're never having to go back there except maybe for a Thanksgiving every couple years. So that's why I don't think it's a shame to dismiss those people in certain aspects.
Yeah. I know. No, that's so, again, like, that's honest, not to do another plug, but like that's what I've been writing about for my book that's coming out later this year. Is sort of that struggle, because I hear all that you're saying, and I don't want our listeners to think, I mean, I agree with you. I do.
Yeah.
But I know it's really complicated, especially for someone like me who loves and grew up in those places, and like who is one of those people that you're talking about, right? Not just I mean, you are to a certain extent, but like I mean, I grew up in one of those communities, right? And I still love it too. So it's a very complicated, complex relationship of how people like me now live in these cities and how we are experiencing, especially this polarization that's happening between those places right now. But so I just want to say I have a lot of thoughts on all of that, but we can't go into them here. But yeah, no, you're totally right. And it wasn't because those people were stupid. It's what you're saying about evolution, or just being interested in anything else, right? Like, God, just have a coffee shop that has a fucking poetry reading every Friday, and don't call me artsy fartsy because I want to fucking go to it. Do you know what I mean? Just that would be cool. You know, there's
but
none of that.
It's not even art. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just hate that they don't think we know. And it's like you said,
Yeah,
we know more than
we
you.
know.
If I want to get a fucking $20,000 a year job, fucking working as like a fucking, essentially a secretary, like an office assistant at a fucking realty company, I gotta probably know how to fucking code and have fucking at least a bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? I gotta know how to fucking write HTML just to fucking bring people motherfucking coffee for minimum wage. And then you're sitting like, you don't get it because people don't want me to dig coal out of a hole for $100,000 a year anymore. It's like, bitch, I gotta know how to code to work at fucking Starbucks and you can't learn a new skill.
Right.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I know it way more than you. I know
it's so entitled.
I know it way more than you. You don't know shit. Your best friend is your cousin, and you have the same plans every Sunday and will until the day you die. I know you because there's nothing to know. What I know about you and your life, I could learn in 15 fucking minutes because you have been curating something so simplistic and so whittled down your whole life. And that's fine. But fucking, you don't get to run the country then.
Right.
Run your household. Because the cops, the government, no one's coming from you because no one even knows you're goddamn alive. They're coming for me, they're coming for my neighbors, and they're coming for where I live. So shut the fuck up. And if no one wants coal anymore, learn to dig another thing or deal with the fact that your whole lifestyle is built off an inflated dollar from a skill set you never really had in the first place, motherfucker. If all you did was weld a car door to a car and you own a house, you shouldn't own that house. So I don't really care if it gets foreclosed on. You should be lucky that you got to live in a house for 20 years as it is because you don't have a skill. Just the marketplace has fucking caught up to your fucking incompetence. And that's all that's really happened.
It's not even incompetence, but just that the marketplace changes, right?
It caught up. There's just no room for that anymore.
Okay, let's move on.
I mean, if you're going to get mad at robots building cars, you might as well get mad at the cotton gin. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need you anymore. And that's fine.
It's not that we don't need you. It's just you should not feel entitled to think that your profession's going to be around forever, where all of us have had to be malleable to it. I just don't think because I went to college and got a degree, I'm suddenly think that I'm better than you. No, I am better than you because I knew that I needed to go get this in order to survive in this changing world.
I'm better than you because I'm better than you. And there's dirty people, there's blue-collar people, there's hardworking people that are better than you. You know why? Because I fucking go and get my fucking oil changed at a fucking place, right? And those are just fucking fucking blue collar, don't go to poetry readings, greasy hand, hardworking, working with their hands guys. But you know what the difference between them and fucking you is? Is that they probably know how the fuck a computer works, because that's what you need to know to work on a car now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so they learned, and they're still pulling out oil caps and doing all that shit, but they're also like, I might need to learn a couple other things. And then you're sitting there in your dog shit state being like, no one wants me to put this bomb next to a mountain and then shovel the things that blow off it into a truck anymore for fucking 6 figures. I am marginalized. And it's like,
Yeah.
you don't
have no idea.
you discount the fact that there's probably people in your same field that went like, like, maybe if I learn how the fucking, I don't even really know how fucking coal works. I'll admit that, but I know enough to know I'm right. Is that there is some guy who was like, we've been using a lot more of like these automatic fucking coal diggers. Maybe I should like take this fucking 3-week class on how those work, and then I can become a fucking coal robot operator. And you know who's not mad? You know who's not voting for fucking Trump? I mean, maybe they are because they hate gays or Mexicans. But for those stupid reasons you're voting for Trump, they're not, because they're fine. The same way, I'm sure the dumbest 10% of mechanics lost their jobs over the last 10 years. But I'm sure the rest of them are like, yeah, I had to fucking learn how to fucking switch out a microchip in a BMW. But besides that, I'm doing fine. You know what? Besides that, I'm doing great. You know what I mean? If you're a carpenter, good for you. But just realize you're probably going to have to learn how to fucking Ethernet wire a house and not just electrical and plumbing it anymore. Shit's going to change. But it's like 1% of knowledge to your already built-in skill set. All you're doing is adding on. You're not scrapping and starting from zero. And then you got guys that are 50 and are like, well, I never learned a new thing ever in my life. Why is my life hard? Because you stink. Because you goddamn stink. And that's why you still live in West Virginia. Because you still stink. No one that doesn't stink anymore still lives in West Virginia unless they're teaching at the university. And they hate every day of your life because they have to run into you at the supermarket every Saturday.
Oh, jeez. Let's move on.
Topic 3, let's talk about tits and balls.
I feel like you've had this question as your topic 3, like at
Have
least
I?
twice before.
No.
At least
oh,
once.
You know what? I have had a version of
Yeah.
this. Oh, God. I don't like the fun topic as much. No, I do sometimes. I don't know. Here's the thing. I do remember bringing this up. That's funny. But this is more specific, and it's based off a news peg, so that's why I picked it. All right, so Jane Seymour. She's in Playboy.
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Which I didn't know she was in it before. And I looked up some of her old pictures on the interwebs. She was looking pretty good. Did you search her old pictures?
No.
It says she was in Playboy 45 years ago. So I guess that would make her 22 at the time. So if you do the math, I'll do it for you. She's 67 years old, posing in Playboy. And she says, quote, she feels sexier than ever.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Probably because you can bareback and not get pregnant, right?
No.
It's the best thing about having sex with a
such
67-year-old,
dude.
right?
I love that quote from her because my birthday is this week, and I was just thinking how the older I get, the better I feel about everything in life, basically. But
you feel
including
sexier than ever?
I feel hotter, sexier, more in touch with my body than ever before.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd rather touch a 22-year-old body. I'm kidding. You actually do look really good.
Thanks.
And I actually I'm not really attracted to younger women.
I know. I was gonna say you would. I thought you were gonna say a 62-year-old woman, not
28, 28 to 36 is the
prime
butter zone for women.
Male butter zone is like I think gonna be 40 to 50. No, that's not true.
Too old.
Because you need it. Yeah, I think 27 to 36, the same.
Yeah, it's the same for both.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking for me, but I'm not saying it's probably different for men either.
I think that it's, because by that point they're not jackhammering. Yeah, they know they got to do some work.
I think I got good rhythm.
Yeah, but then any older and you're gonna lose some.
But I used to
pineapples.
I used to kind of do a joke about it. Is that I've created a sexual style that I think has staying power.
What's that?
Is that I fuck like I know I can fuck hard and fast with good endurance, but I know that is not going to last for a long time. So why develop a style that you can only use for like 5-10 years? So I've developed a fucking style that's based on not being
You
able
were
to do
thinking
that.
long term.
Yeah, I said I'm like, well,
Nice.
this is where I think I'll lose you, and I think it's why like the joke didn't work because I lost a lot of the audience. No, it's not a gross thing; it's just a knowledge thing. I said like, I have like a Greg Maddux approach to fucking,
Yeah,
where
I don't know
his
what
was
that means.
he's a pitcher, but he's all about like changing up speeds and very precise location pitching. But he pitched until his like late 40s, a starting pitcher. But then you have like an Eric Gagne who's like a closer, right? Or is it Greg Gagne? No, Eric Gagne, right? But he was like a closer for the Dodgers. He had like 2 amazing seasons because he'd just come in the 9th inning, throw like 99-mile-per-hour fastballs. And then after 2 seasons, he blew out his shoulder. He did like a couple other journeyman seasons, and he's out of the league.
Yeah.
That's guys who fuck like they're 22 their whole life.
That's
By the
funny.
time they're 28, they've blown out their fucking pelvis. And no one wants to fuck them. They haven't developed any other skills.
Don't blow out your pelvis, boys. Develop a fucking
Here's what I'd say.
style.
Here's my bumper sticker thing for that.
Okay.
Eat pussy before you have to, if you're a man. Eat pussy before you have to.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes, boys. Cool. So what's your question?
You don't want to learn how to eat pussy when you're 36. You will never get good at it. It's like trying to learn guitar at that age. Eating pussy's like learning
something I picked up.
Eating pussy's like learning a language. If you do it younger, it'll be more intuitive. So my question is, who is the hottest person that you know over the age of 60? That's my fun question.
That wasn't your question.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was, who do you want to see naked?
Oh, was that? Who? Because
she's
see,
in
this
Playboy.
is a different question. I did turn it into my same question because we talked about hottest old person. Yeah, because she's in Playboy. So who do you want to see Nikki over the age of 60?
Well, I think because you're seeing them naked, it's implied that you'll have sex with them, right?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
You're right. We've done this topic before, but I have a different answer.
I have a different answer too.
So
you know
it
why?
works.
Here's why my answer is different. Because about a month ago, we watched the Die Hard series, and I had never seen it before. And oh my God, Bruce Willis! I get it now, ladies and men. I understand the infatuation. He was so hot in those movies. What a sexy attitude. I've never been attracted to a man who is balding, like while he's balding. Totally
Except
Bruce Willis. Like, he looks amazing. And I think he's a totally hot old guy. And he seems like a really good dad. Like, again, we've talked about my hot dad thing, right? Yeah, so like when him and Demi broke up, like he still posed for
just
photos
for a
with
refresh,
Ashton
you mean
there.
like it's hot when you see someone being a good dad?
Yeah.
That's your hot dad.
Yeah.
thing.
I like.
Not that you just like someone that has a child.
Right.
It's
right.
like if you see them being
like,
a good dad.
No, it's very like internal. They have to be a good dad. Being a good dad makes me think you're a hashtag hot dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, like no, if you're cut and like only hold your kid for your Instagram selfie, like get out of here, gross guy. No, you're not a hot dad.
Yeah.
But Bruce Willis, hot dad, because even though Ashton
He still looks pretty in
Demi's
shape.
side piece is on hanging out in your family photos, he's still cool because he's there for the kids and he's a good dad. But mostly, though, it's because he's sexy.
He's got a good bod, too.
Yeah,
It'd
totally.
be worth seeing that naked even at an old age. He's over the age of 60?
It's weird when you say it naked.
Nicky.
I don't like it.
All right.
He's 62.
Ooh.
Just
what about Stallone?
No.
Too creepy. He's
creepy.
just so veiny.
It seems too fake, right? Like Bruce Willis is like old.
Well,
I also think Michael Keaton's really hot.
That's the only thing
he's
that
more like a face guy than a body guy.
You'd like date him. He's like the guy over 60 you'd
Bruce,
date.
I can imagine him 30 years prior, and also he still kind of has a nice body.
Is he over the age of 60?
Who?
Who's
Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I looked at a list before I picked my guy, but then I saw Bruce Willis on the list.
I looked at a list too because I wanted to make
pick?
sure. I picked Linda Carter, former Wonder Woman.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
She is
I'm gonna Google
65
her now.
and she's looking nice.
Yeah.
So besides the characteristic of a little trashy, my favorite, the best way I could describe the best way I could describe what I'm into, busty brunettes.
Yeah.
And she is a busty brunette.
I'm because I'm kind of like that because I have like darker hair.
You're busty and you have auburn hair. You call yourself a redhead, but like I said, it's just not fair to other redheads to call yourself a redhead.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. And look at them cans. What? Sweet,
It
sweet
is
cans.
funny. Busty brunettes.
Yeah, you're a busty brunette. You're just like a little redheady.
Yeah.
And it's like I always told you, like if you dyed your hair black, you would look like great. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying like meaning like your characteristics would be ones that a brunette could have.
Yeah.
Your hair is basically brunette. I know you're a redhead, but I just don't like you. Like I'm hot for like a redhead. It's like you're hot because you're not a redhead.
People like they're like, oh, you're a redhead. Like sometimes in like if you only met me in certain situations, like a dark bar, for example, like you wouldn't really know I'm a redhead because it's just darker. It's like auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for making it about me.
I knew that's the only way I could get away with talking about
I
Linda
know.
Carter.
It's, well, about wanting to fuck another woman. Yes.
Yeah, she could still get it. That's my favorite way to describe good-looking women.
Bruce
Oh,
Willis.
she could get it.
She could get it. Bruce Willis could get it.
You gotta say he could get it.
He could get it.
She could get it.
Do you think Bruce Willis is hot? Or like
Yeah,
was hot?
I don't know. I don't get it. I mean,
Really?
most things women are attracted to, I don't get. Because, like, I'm not attracted to men, so I'm kind of just like, honestly, I think when a man is not attracted to men, like I think the best way to judge attractiveness is just to be like, would I want to look like that?
Oh.
I think that's how men.
Would you want to look like Bruce?
Do you feel the same way as a woman if you're trying to judge a woman being attractive?
No, because I think women, from a very young age, were taught to look at other women as competition. So, like, it's easy for me to look at a woman and be like, men will want to fuck that.
Well, so that's the same thing, pretty much.
I don't think I want to look like her.
But I guess my train of thought is I'd want to look like him, so I would get fucked, like he probably does, because he's good looking. And when I see a young Bruce Willis, I'm just like, he's fine, but I don't
cute.
I just don't get that from him. But again, I'm not attracted to men, so my point is, I'm like, I wouldn't trade my thing for him. You know what I mean? But
you know why?
I probably should. But
it's because he always kind of looks like he reminds me of Gene Kelly, sort of, in the sense of like. He's like a blue collar hard ass.
I mean, I think that's always been his appeal, even in his roles, even in his early roles.
But it sort of relates to what we were talking about earlier, like kind of an asshole, but really nice deep down. It's like you. You're my Bruce Willis, Gene Kelly, in your salmon shirt.
It's pale pink. It's the hot palette right now. Do not call it salmon. Salmon is like pink, like your face usually is when you're not using Rachel Dolezal makeup. All right. Good.
See, like, oh my God, this photo.
Like, I don't think it's unattractive. I'm just,
so hot.
I don't get it.
Let's put the camera on me so all of our web viewers can see it.
I don't think they can see it.
Do you guys see that, Bruce Willis? Hello.
I don't think they can see it, but maybe they can.
If you just Google young Bruce Willis, put that in your
And then
bank.
Google old Linda Carter. All right, good pod. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I've been Justin Golak. You can find me at justingolak.com. You can find me on Twitter at Justin Golak. Get down on answering. I don't know. Do you want to look at this while I finish my plugs? I can't figure out what this is.
Oh.
So if you can figure out what the bottle cap is, just tell me so I can fucking even just know. At Reply over on Twitter at Justin Golak. And then Justin at justingolak.com. If you got something over 140 characters you want to shoot at me, or I guess they give you like 280 now. Who gives a shit? You can shoot me a message over there. And like I plugged earlier, March 16th, that's this Friday, at the Den Theater at 10 p.m., Killing Your Darlings, a show where I do 15 minutes of material every month, brand new material, and so does everyone on the show. So we got a couple great producers, Jason Melton and Ed Towns. They'll be doing 15 new minutes every month, and then we'll have 2 featured comics doing 15 minutes. So we got Rena Calm and Brandon Kiefer on this show. They're both super, super funny. It'll be a great show. And a new thing I've been working on, Jackie contributed to it a little bit. It's just kind of I've talked about it on my podcast, so it's just a place where you can check new content refreshed
from
every month.
From various artists. Yeah,
refreshed
new artists each month.
Yeah, refreshed every month on the first Tuesday of the month. So first one's up. It's called The Affront. There's a webpage with content on it. The-affront2fs.com. Did you figure it out yet?
I think so.
Okay. And
Well,
tell me
no,
after
I
we.
haven't figured it out, but I figured out the first part.
Okay, that means nothing. You
Okay.
figured out what one of the pictures is?
2 of them. 3 of them.
Well, then that's
I
it.
just don't know what the last little guys are.
Well, that's the hardest part. All right,
Yeah.
so check that out. But also Jackie Manti, JackieManti.com, at Jackie_Manti on Twitter, and Jackie at JackieManti.com. Send her them tit pics. Send me my dick pics. Send her the tit pics.
Yep.
Anything else you want to plug?
Hit me up, Bruce Willis. You can get it.
Bye.
Bye.